All right, going to call this meeting in order. First item is roll call.
Alderman Arnold.
Here.
Alderman Bray.
Here.
Alderman Cleaver.
Here.
Alderman Skinner.
Here.
Alderman Mills.
Here.
Alderman Knox.
Here.
There's a quorum.
Next item will be invocation led by Pastor Wayne Geiger of First Baptist Church, followed by pledge of allegiance from Alderman Bray.
Father, we do thank you for your presence. We thank you for your goodness and your grace and mercy. Lord, we're thankful for all that you do. We know that every good and perfect gift comes down from above. We're thankful for your presence in our lives, the fact that you walk with us. We also thank you, Lord, for at times troubles come and difficulties, and they cause us to rely on you and to rely on one another. For that, we're grateful. We pray for your presence in our midst tonight. Pray for your strength and grace. We pray in thy name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right out of the gate.
Next item is the approval of the agenda.
No changes, Mayor.
Next up, we have a proclamation for National Service Dog Month, and accepting will be Deborah Morrison and Mango. I'll read it and have you come up to accept, all right? Proclamation, whereas we believe in the joyful, transformative power of the human canine bond and inclusivity of all citizens, and whereas in the United States, 64 million adults and children have a disability, and only 16,000 service dogs from accredited training programs exist nationwide, and the need is growing. And whereas National Service Dog Month aims to educate our community about the benefits of service dogs and the laws protecting them. Whereas the City of Grand Valley continues to work toward becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens and their service dogs are embraced. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the City of Grand Valley Board of Aldermen and Mayor Mike Todd are proud to recognize service dogs and the adults and children with disabilities in our community, in which this recognition formally honors September 2023 as National Service Dog Month. I'll come down with it. Accepting it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, next item will be public comment. We ask that citizens step forward to the podium or microphone. Please make sure you've signed in and give your name and address for the record. Do we have anyone who wishes to address the board this evening? Seeing none, move on to the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Motion Alderman Skinner to accept the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Next up, we have previous business. We have liquor license with the second presentation for Valley Moments.
So this is the second presentation of the liquor license for Valley Moments. Ms. Gibson is in the audience in the back if you have any questions for her this evening. The police department has signed off on this liquor license. The last thing we need are I believe she does have the state license in hand. After tonight, if you guys approve, then we'll move forward with a permission letter so she can get her county license, but that is all the outstanding requirements that we have. So tonight, we're requesting a motion to approve the liquor license for Valley Moments.
All right, I will entertain the motion to approve.
So moved.
That's Alderman Skinner. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Bray. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. 6-0. See no additional previous business, no new business or presentations. We'll move on to public hearing, where we have a public hearing for property tax levy.
Mayor, members of the board, as required, this is the public hearing for the tax levy that we'd be setting for 2022. I'm sure we've all heard a lot about the assessment process this year, but we did see quite an increase in our assessed valuation. So what we are looking at for previous levy to this, well, let me back up. There are four parts of our levy. We've got the general fund, the debt service fund, Parks and Recreation, and Public Health. So that's what makes up our total tax levy that's then put on personal property tax. So we'll go through each one of those. Our current levy for general fund is 0.4685. We are proposing 0.3907. The debt service fund is currently 0.8362. The proposal is 0.5427. Parks and Recreation is 0.1035. We're proposing 0.0863. And the Public Health is 0.0412, proposing 0.0344. And those numbers all put together, currently we are 1.4494, and that would be going to 1.0541. So a considerable decrease with the increase in assessed valuation that we have. As I said, those are that's going forward with the numbers that we have at this time, which is the best information that we have to go forward with. We believe another round will be coming to us on the 11th, which is the date of our next board meeting. So when we have the actual ordinance on there to set the levy, we should have a better idea at that point if those numbers are staying. But right now, with the numbers we have in hand, that is what we are proposing.
Any questions or discussion?
So on the 11th, you think the number we'll have will possibly take out any people who've, asked for an appeal and it's been granted? It'll account for that?
Up to that point. So reality is they've had 54,000, I believe, appeals and have gone through 22,000 of them. We have received from the county kind of a total value that has been frozen at this point that is in the appeal process. And so I believe after the 11th, we'll feel fairly comfortable with where we're at that point. But we will see. Usually those updated numbers come earlier. This is later in the process. Because if you're not aware, we have to have this turned around to the county by the end of September. So that is kind of why we're on the time frame that we are.
Do we have any idea how many of the appeals are being rolled back? That they've done so far, how many were granted to roll back?
We don't have that information, no.
These reductions are what's required by Hancock.
Yeah, and Stephen can speak a little more to the process there.
So if, obviously in odd years, the property is reassessed. Since this is an odd year, Jackson County has been appraising the properties, and we saw about a 26.8% increase in the assessed valuation compared to last year. The state law does require that the revenue be, or the levies be rolled back to be revenue neutral. We will have the ability to, it can increase up to 5% depending upon I believe the CPI, and ours did roll back approximately 40 cents as a result of that.
Some questions or comments?
I don't have any hard numbers because I haven't looked into it, but the general feel that I get just from following this issue is that most people's decreased increases are well above the 15% threshold. So I'm not confident that they're going to hold. So I think we need to make sure that we're staying as close to in front of this as we can in case this whole process gets rolled back. I'd hate to see us put a levy out as low as Hancock and then be stuck with it. So we need to understand what our options are if that happens.
Yeah, and we are currently trying to look at every avenue that we have. Like I said, basically at this point, we're just trying to check the boxes on following the procedure that we have to do, and we'll see where that takes us.
It is my understanding after having a long, lengthy talk with 41 Action News. They've never aired that, by the way. But they reached out to the auditor, and there's some buried in Missouri state statute, something that if for some reason that were to happen, say a lawsuit freezes it at the 22 levels, or it gets rolled back to the 22 levels, and we've already set the levy based on what we thought were going to be the 23 levels. The board can actually take action for like up to 3 years to raise the levy back up if that was to happen. I would hate to have to do that once people already, but that option is out there if, dire straits come, so. I mean, we're not the only taxing, every taxing jurisdiction in Jackson County is in this same predicament, so.
Everybody is.
Yep. And if we find that something is off, when we get to that next, when we get the next numbers, there is a requirement that we do have to notice for another public hearing. So it would kind of just be, we'd start that process over.
So there's a possibility we have a double read of this, the last meeting in September, based on what
Hopefully not.
hopefully not, but
Yeah,
in case we start
basically, the
getting-
board has
yeah.
to take action on it, and we have to have it turned into the county by the end of the month.
Has the county responded to us at all on the letter that was sent? Still nothing?
One of them had reached out to meet with me and then canceled on me at the last minute, so. And I know they're looking at the senior thing. They may have voted on that today. I don't know.
It's supposed to vote tonight.
Yeah. Regarding the, freezing it at the age 62, so. I don't think that would impact this year, though. I don't think that's for future years. Any additional questions or comments then? As this is a public hearing, we'll open it up to comments from the public. So anyone who wishes to speak regarding the property tax levy? None, I'll close the public hearing. We'll move on to resolutions. First resolution is R23-62. A resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grand Valley establishing the need to amend the 2023 budget to allocate funding from park reserve funds for the Armstrong Park All-Inclusive Playground Project.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve resolution R 23-62.
A motion by Alderman Bray to approve resolution R23-62. Have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Arnold. Any discussion?
Mayor and members of the board, there's going to be a few items on the agenda tonight that are all related to the same thing, but we've talked multiple times about the all-inclusive playground that we will be going in Armstrong Park. And part of the funding mechanism for that is funds from LWCF. And we are very happy for that. One of the, things that comes along with that is it is a very long process. So clear back in February of 21 is when we applied. And it's supposed to take place in September of 21. So we've kind of been going forward with numbers from that time. We got bids in, they did come in a little bit higher. So as part of that grant program, we are able to go back and get additional funds, but that means that the money that we budgeted for this year is not enough. So this is a resolution that would allow for a budget, or is reasoning for the budget amendment that you will see in a future item on the agenda here.
Any discussion or comments? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Next resolution is R23-63. It's a resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grand Valley, Missouri to enter into a contract with Cunningham Recreation for the installation of an all-inclusive playground at Armstrong Park.
Mayor, I move that we approve resolution R 23-63.
I have a motion, Alderman Cleaver, to accept resolution R23-63. Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh, everybody. Second, Alderman Mills. All right, any discussion?
Mayor and members of the board, this is the actual agreement with the company that would be doing the work. Being this is a federal grant program, we did have to follow their guidelines going through. And there were a number of criteria that each of the firms had to meet to be eligible for the project. And Cunningham Recreation was the one that was ultimately chosen and approved by them as well. But basically, you're looking at about 11.5% increase from what we were looking at in 2021, which, not that we ever want an increase, but I guess when you think about it from 2021 to now, I don't like it, but I guess that's reasonable when you look at some of the increases that we've seen. But this would be the agreement for that company.
Any questions, comments?
What's the time frame for the installation?
Shannon?
Yeah, we'd be looking at having that installed within the next 3 to 4 months, so before the end of this year.
So it'll be ready for summer? next
Yes.
year.
Shannon, are we just adding two or are we removing what we have?
Yeah, so both, we have two play structures. One's a 5 to 12-year-old play structure that was built in the 90s. Another structure is a 2 to 5-year-old play structure that was built in the early 2000s. So both of those structures will be removed, and this one would replace both. Timing-wise, though, we're trying to hold off on the removal so that there's minimal disruption in the park between the time we remove and the time they come in and install. The only thing that would be staying there would be the swing sets that are just east of the restroom. And then there's some play components in the existing playground that we'll repurpose it at other playgrounds here in our park system.
That's what I was gonna ask, if some of that could be moved to some
Yeah.
of the smaller parks.
Yep.
Any other comments or questions? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Next up then will be ordinances.
Okay, this is the second reading of Bill number B23-24. This is an ordinance vacating the platted cul-de-sac on the east and west side of Northwest Jefferson Court.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the second reading of Bill,
Oh, yeah, that was it.
I'm on the wrong one, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I stepped on you, I apologize.
Mayor, I move that we approve second reading of Bill 23-24, make it ordinance 2430.
I have a motion from Alderman Arnold to approve Bill B23-24 for its second reading, making ordinance 2430. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, seeing none, this will be a roll call.
Alderman Skinner,
Yes.
Alderman Mills,
Yes.
Alderman Knox,
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver,
Yes.
Alderman Bray,
Yes.
Alderman Arnold.
Yes.
Okay. The next up is Bill number B23-25. This is the second reading. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 415, Flood Hazard Prevention of the Code of Ordinances in Section 415.010, Statutory Authorization, Findings of Fact, and Purposes.
Mr. Mayor, this time, I move that we set read of Bill 23-25, bring it back as ordinance 2431.
I have a motion from Alderman Bray to approve Bill B23-25 for its second reading, making ordinance 2431. Do I have a second? Second, Alderman Arnold. Any discussion? All right, this will be roll call.
Alderman Arnold,
Yes.
Alderman Bray,
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver,
Yes.
Alderman Knox,
Yes.
Alderman Mills,
Yes.
Alderman Skinner.
Yes.
The next one is a second reading of Bill number B23-26. This is an ordinance of the City of Green Valley, Missouri to establish a procedure to disclose potential conflicts of interest and substantial interest for certain municipal officers.
Mayor, move that we accept the second reading of bill number B23-26 and approve it as ordinance number 2432.
I have a motion from Alderman Cleaver to approve Bill B23-26 for its second reading, making ordinance 2432. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, seeing none, this will be a roll call.
Alderman Knox,
Yes.
Alderman Mills,
Yes.
Alderman Skinner,
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver,
Yes.
Alderman Arnold,
Yes.
and Alderman Bray.
Yes.
The next one is the second reading of Bill number B23-27. This is an ordinance by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Green Valley, Missouri to amend the city code to add Chapter 255 miscellaneous provisions, Article 1 hunting, Section 255.010 pertaining to the discharge of archery devices allowed under certain conditions.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the second reading of Bill B 23-27 and approve it as ordinance number 2433.
I have a motion by Alderman Knox to approve Bill B 23-27 for its second reading, making ordinance 2433. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Skinner. Any discussion? Seeing none, this will be a roll call.
Alderman Bray,
Yes.
Alderman Arnold,
No.
Alderman Cleaver,
Yes.
Alderman Knox,
Yes.
Alderman Mills,
Yes.
Alderman Skinner.
Yes.
5-1.
The next is the first reading of Bill Number B23-28. This is an ordinance by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grain Valley, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to amend the 2023 budget to allocate funding from park fund reserves for the Armstrong Park All-Inclusive Playground Project.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the first reading of Bill Number 2328 and make it a second reading by title only.
I have a motion by Alderman Mills to approve the first reading of Bill B 23-28, bringing it back by title only for its second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Bray. Any discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, this is the ordinance, and this is the final piece that we had talked about to allocate those funds to cover the increase in the all-inclusive playground.
Questions or comments? All right. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
This is the second reading of Bill Number B23-28. This is an ordinance by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grain Valley, Missouri. To authorize the city administrator to amend the 2023 budget to allocate funding from park fund reserves for the Armstrong Park All-Inclusive Playground Project.
Mayor, I move that we accept the second reading of Bill Number B2328 and approve it as ordinance number 2434.
I have a motion by Alderman Mills to approve Bill B 23-28 for its second reading, making an ordinance 2434. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Bray. Any discussion? Seeing none, this will be roll call.
Alderman Arnold,
Yes.
Alderman Bray,
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver,
Yes.
Alderman Skinner,
Yes.
Alderman Mills,
Yes.
Alderman Knox.
For ordinances, next up, city attorney's reports.
No report tonight.
Next up, city administrator and staff reports.
We just had one thing, just wanted to let you guys know you should be looking out for some possible dates so we can do a walkthrough of the new police station to kind of see where the status is on that. It's to the point now you can actually tell where rooms and everything are because walls are going in. So we will be trying to schedule that for sometime in September here.
What's their estimated opening date?
Yeah, so it's still the end of the first quarter. I think it's like I'm gonna say the 24th of March, I think is what was on the schedule to start with. And we're pretty much on the rain day, on path on allowable rain days, so.
That is for staff reports?
Yes.
All right. Next up, Board of Alderman reports and comments. Alderman Arnold,
Nothing at this time.
Alderman Mills,
Nothing at this time.
Alderman Bray,
Nothing at this time.
all right, Alderman Skinner,
Nothing at this time.
Alderman Knox,
I have nothing at this time.
Alderman Cleaver.
Nothing tonight.
All right. Under mayor's report, just one thing, we do have, we won't have another meeting before the fair, which will be September 8th and 9th. I think information was sent out about the parade. I'm participating in the city's entry in that. Parade time has been moved up to 10 a.m. this year. It was 2 p.m. for the past few years, but that wasn't working out great because of the heat and all that. So we moved it back up to 10 a.m., which I think would be better for attendance and all that. So we do have well over 120 vendor spots at this point, which is the most we've ever had. This is the first year that since I've been involved that we've had to start turning people away. So we have a waiting list now. So that's the first that we've ever had that. So it should be a good event. Hopefully no rain. In the forecast does look like it might be like 98 degrees, but I can live with that if I have to. So as long as it's not raining. So I hope to see everyone out for that. It's always a good time. That is all I have for this evening, unless there's no need for an executive session. So if no one has anything additional, we will adjourn.